Quiet on set. Picture is up. All right, roll sound.
Rolling.
Roll cameras.
Cam's rolling.
And 3, 2.
Hey everybody, what's going on? And welcome to Hank's Think Tank. Man, it seems like it's been a year since I've been in here, but actually it's only been like a month or so. But it's good to be back, and we're going to be doing a lot of shows this year. I've got a lot going on, a lot in the bucket, and I'm really glad about that because it's time to get some information back out to my community. If you've subscribed to this channel, I appreciate it. I appreciate all the viewers we can get. And let me know in the comments how I'm doing. If I need to change something, if I need to add something. Hey, you guys run the show, not me. So just let me know. Today I've got Martin Etwop in. Now, Martin has been on the show before. He ran for Congress way back a couple of years ago. And, of course, his run was unsuccessful. He ran against Dan Crenshaw, but he gave it hell and really let me know what kind of candidate he was. And I personally voted for Martin. And I thought he was genuine, and I thought he brought to the table what we needed. But, you know, dynamics have changed and times have changed. And so now we're going to find out where he's at, and we'll see if he has any plans on doing anything in the future. Martin, how's it going, man?
I'm good. I'm good, Hank. And, you know, I'm so glad to be back here because the last time I was here, it was a tiny little room. It's an awesome studio, man. Thank you.
It's a different place altogether.
Yeah,
it's got a different
great.
feel. And I think it provides a little bit more professionalism. And so we've upped our game a little bit. Not enough yet, but I'm getting there.
No, this is great. I love this, man.
So what have you been doing since you were last on the show?
Oh, that's a good question. I've been practicing law, fighting for Texas, defending people against the Biden administration and against people who come. You know, let me go back a little bit.
Now, just to clarify,
Yes.
The last time you were on the show, you were only in law school. You hadn't made it yet. I don't think you took the bar or anything.
No, I was a student then.
Wow.
Yeah, and since then I finished law school, took the bar, and straight away I got hired by this really wonderful organization. And what the organization does is hold government accountable.
Okay.
And so that's what I've been doing. Going to school board meetings, holding school boards accountable, holding city council accountable, holding the federal government accountable, holding the state government accountable.
So all forms of government.
Yeah, as long as it's government, as long as, yeah.
So you've made a lot of friends.
Yeah, I've made a lot of friends.
Yeah, I bet you have.
and I have a lot of people who've not been very happy.
Yeah.
So, but I mean, if I don't do it,
Mm-hmm.
that's why I went to law school, to be able to hold people accountable, especially when people use lawfare to try to squish and destroy views they don't like.
Mm-hmm.
When people don't like the way you pray, when people don't like the way you say you support one candidate over another,
Mm-hmm.
and they use government and they use the wealthy from DC and New York to come and squish people, we can't just let it. I've been using Soros money to destroy the young, the small groups. And so I decided I was going to do that, like fight back. We've had groups like the ACLU that use intimidation, they use threats. They use everything to come after people, after school
The
districts.
ACLU does that?
Yeah, I mean, I've seen letters where
I thought they were for people.
They are
Don't
supposed-
they stand for the American Civil Liberties Union?
they are supposed to be for the people.
Right.
But here's what happened. Many years ago, that's who they were.
Mm-hmm.
But you know where the money, when you find, like, you realize that Soros is the one where the money comes from. You realize that
Sure.
making the argument that you're fighting for the little guy is how you make the money. Yet in the end, they decide who the little guy they support is.
Okay.
And who the little guy they want to squish is.
Right.
And if you're the little guy who is liberal, leftist, they will come for you. They'll come and support you. A few times lately, I've seen them actually file amicus on behalf of conservatives just because they know ultimately it protects their interests. But for the most cases, seen them send like letters to school districts saying, if you do this, we're gonna come after you, and then we reply back and say, no, they're trying to threaten, intimidate you. That's fake law. They're using the wrong law to try to intimidate you. Here's what the law says, and that's what I've been doing. It's been good. It's been great.
Oh wow! So a lot of time in the courtroom, I would imagine.
Actually, not a lot of time in the courtroom, and that's the other thing about the law. About 96% of the case of law issues are taken care of before you get to courtroom.
Sure. Yeah, settled out.
Yeah, and sometimes it's just a matter of an attorney responding to the other side saying, you got nothing. Then it disappears. Sometimes they send a letter to scare you, and then they're like, we're going to take you to court. But if you have someone to push back, they go away. And so by the time it gets to the courtroom, it means either they've intimidated you so far and you've tried your best and stood your ground, and then they're like, okay, let's try more additional intimidations in the courtroom, where now they bring the high-powered, $250,000 a year or $1 million a year attorneys to come after a nobody.
Right.
Just because they have the money and they know if they shut you up, they shut everyone up. Those are the few times you go to court, because at that point, this guy who couldn't do anything but is willing to stand their ground, stand on their principles, saying, "I'll take it. I'll be bankrupted. I'll lose everything, but you're not going to bully me." But that's 1 out of 100, 1 out of 99 who chooses to stand. Everyone else is like, okay, what do you want? They're like, oh, just sign here saying you're not going to do it again. And sign here saying you apologize. Even you're on the right, but they ask you to apologize. And when you apologize, that's it. Now you can never do anything.
Yeah, you're admitting guilt.
Everyone else will never do the same thing you did, yet you are not in the wrong. That's what the other side has been doing.
Without naming names, I mean, can you give me an idea of a case, just a sample of a case that you recently worked on?
Yeah, like we had some, like a Trump train, where guys in 2020 were flying the Trump flag and excited about Trump running, and of course, the Biden-Harris bus was in town. So these guys, Trumpers love showing, like we are Trumpers, driving with their flag and showing the Biden bus. Hey, Texas doesn't really love you, but let's show you how many Trumpers are in Texas. Right. So the Trumpers just followed the Biden bus, and there was a ton of them. So these guys sued the Trump train for intimidation, for threats, for assault. They sued them under the anti-KKK law of 1872. That's 1872 awesome. Law, that was to protect against the KKK. Right. That's what the Biden people
did they really?
Yeah.
Wow.
The case went on for 4 years.
Wow. And how was it resolved?
And it was only this year that we won.
Under the 1872 law.
Yeah.
Wow.
So that is what the other side is willing to do. And you know how many attorneys they had in this case?
No.
35.
Really?
They had people from Washington, D.C., they had people from New York City, and all the big law firms, plus they had a few from Austin, and it was a federal case. And they sued and using a anti-KKK law of 1872 against people who were just supporting Trump.
Wow, that's crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm surprised they're able to do stuff like that still. You think those laws would have, fallen off the books or... I guess until a law is repealed, it's always good, right?
Yeah, it's always good. Until the Supreme Court says, this is bad law, this is unconstitutional law, or until Congress writes a law saying, because this 1872 law was written by Congress. So until Congress says we are getting rid of this law,
because it's no longer valid.
Yeah, it's still going to stay the law. And as attorneys, we're good at that. We're like, let's find the most obscure law that we can get your hank on, because we wanna squish you. Yeah. So that's what they do.
Oh wow. Well, it's good that you're there to help defend those kind of people.
Yeah, it's been good. It's been a good ride.
Yeah. Yeah. And how long has this been now? 3 or 4 years?
Yeah, the thing was 4 years until it was just in September that we we knocked it out of the park.
Well, that's great. Fantastic. Well, congratulations on that.
Thank
That's
you.
good. And so that brings us forward to today. So what are your plans now?
That's a good question. Yeah, that's a very good question. Since then, like I said, did all that, went to law school, finished law school, worked as an attorney, and I worked. I was a member of different boards in the Montgomery County here, Republican Party. Actually, the Montgomery County Pachyderm Club, and I'm also part of. I also do something in the Republican Party in Montgomery County.
Okay.
And so with all that, I felt like, we have bad leadership in this country.
Mm-hmm.
Of course, I've tried to do my part in my county, try to do my part in my state.
Nothing opens your eyes up more than getting involved.
Yeah.
That's for sure.
Yeah.
I mean, even I noticed that. So, I thought, well, we're in pretty good shape. And
No.
And then I started to interview people, and I started to get more involved and do more research, and keep you awake at night.
We have so much rot in our nation.
Mm-hmm.
I'm glad today, I don't know, what's the time? Yeah, I don't know about now, Congress is getting in there to certify Trump's election.
Yeah, that's
And
January 6th. That is today.
Yeah. And I'm happy that we get the person we elected back in office.
Mm-hmm.
But the problem is, we think Trump is going to solve all our problems. It's not going to happen. You and me are going to solve our problems, not Trump.
Mm-hmm.
Trump is going to maybe reclaim some of the lost ground.
Mm-hmm.
But if we think after Trump won the elections, and we go back to where we were before, where everybody just sits in their corner and watches TV all day.
Yeah, and just waits, Yeah,
not everybody watches TV all day. Other people go to work all day, and I'm glad they have to go work to provide for their families.
Mm-hmm.
But then there's a point where you need to go to work, hold your construction equipment, and hold your weapon with the other hand.
Mm-hmm.
You should be ready to fight back against the corruption in the government, fight back against the intimidation in the government, fight back against all the nefarious elements that are taking over our government. For too long we just sat back because we thought, our elected officials are working for us.
Right.
But we've realized they are not. They are part of the problem.
Mm-hmm.
They are the ones who are making it possible that someone goes to Congress where they get paid $174,000.
Mm-hmm.
In 4 years, they are multimillionaires.
How is that
possible? It's because we've let them.
Right.
It's because we are not holding them accountable. We sat back in our corner and we're like, we elected so-and-so. He's the best guy we ever had.
Well, though, it's also the way that society is engineered.
Yeah.
Because society is set up in such a way to where it's easier for us to go to work, go home, watch TV, do the things we do, and live our ordinary life without making any waves and without getting too involved in government. But that's the opposite of what we should be doing. What we should be doing is being involved in government and, like you said, holding our officials accountable and ensuring that our democracy not only is continued, but runs the way that it's supposed to run. And it's the people who, and I think we've lost sight of that it's the people who do that. It's not our elected officials. No. It's us. But we're just passive now. It's not that we don't care. We just don't seem to have time for it because we're all out trying to earn a living.
You want to see how dangerous it is?
Oh, I know.
When a congressman, a woman, is out of Congress for 6 years, 6 months, they are in a unassisted living home, and nobody knows about it.
Mm-hmm.
Nobody's saying anything about it. A Texas congressperson has been gone AWOL for 6 months, and that's whose problem. It's my problem. I should be holding them accountable. I should know where. I'm like, I should be like, is my congressman, was he at today's vote? If I haven't seen him for 6 months, I should be asking questions.
Absolutely.
But we've had that happen recently with Kay Granger.
Mm-hmm.
She's been gone, and
For 6 months.
for 6 months, and she was in an assisted living facility. She's getting paid. She's not showing up in Congress,
That's terrible.
but we just
Yeah.
let it happen.
Right.
So it's
So let me ask you this: what
Yes,
what can we do? I mean, really, what can we do about it? If she decides to do that, is there anything that the average citizen can do? You know, I mean, we can complain, we can vote somebody else in,
yeah,
but is there anything else we can do?
yeah. We can vote someone else in,
Okay.
and we shouldn't be having career politicians.
No, I agree.
We
with
shouldn't
that.
have somebody who's in clocking. They're 90 years old, 88,
Mm-hmm.
in Congress.
Right.
We shouldn't be doing that.
Right.
We, as we should be saying, okay, thank God for the House, it's every 2 years.
Mm-hmm.
Unfortunately, for the Senate, it's 6 years.
Mm-hmm.
But if somebody is 82 or 84 right now, and in 26 there is an election coming,
Mm-hmm.
if you vote that person again, you are the problem.
Yeah. I agree with that. I'm sorry I'm laughing, but these are things that I haven't heard of before. And they just, yeah.
So what can we do? We need to wake up. We need to re-engage the community. We need to let them
I agree
realize
with
how
that.
important it is for us to be involved again.
I agree with that. The thing that I beat my head up against the wall with is voter education. It seems to me like you would have a much more interested society if the education wasn't so complicated. If it was simple and cut and dry, but it's not.
No.
I mean, it's multi-pronged. It's super complicated. It's hard even for guys with a higher IQ than my own to understand.
Understand?
You know, so it's tough. It's really tough to get the information out there that's really needed. And I think that's what we need more than anything else is we need a congressperson who's willing to not only do their job, but also to educate us on what's going on. You know, like Crenshaw, I never hear from him. Nothing. I mean, he doesn't, it's not like he gets on the radio or gets on TV or anything and says, hey, I'm Dan Crenshaw. These are the pieces of legislation that I'm working on, and this is the reason why I'm working on them. What do you guys think? He doesn't engage us, you know? And so we need leaders that are willing to engage us as well. Just your average voter, your
Yeah.
average guy.
To be fair to Dan Crenshaw, last week I got a letter from him. No, my wife did.
Really?
My wife gets letters from Dan, but I don't. He sent
I don't think I've ever gotten a letter from
he
him.
sent a postcard, a letter in the mail saying, "This is what I've done for the year, for the 2 years, since you last elected me, and this is what I intend to do." And I was like, "Where have all those gone?" And this 2 years, this is it.
Mm-hmm.
And how far has it gone from? But at least he sent something. But you know, now I'll compare that to Morgan Luttrell.
Okay.
Morgan actually recently was at the Montgomery County Tea Party explaining what he's been doing. I asked him some
See,
questions.
that's big. To me, that's big.
I asked him
You know?
some questions. I'm like, some immigration questions. I'm an immigrant, so I like to make sure that, because our borders are like pretty bad. I mean, our nation, we got about 20 million people in the past 4 years illegally. I watched this video where a guy from Lebanon or Syria was like, he was crossing the southern border. I was like, I'm scared because I thought they were going to ask me questions. So if I was able to walk through, then how many bad people have walked through? No, this guy is crossing illegally. And he's already scared because he's like, if I could do this, how many bad people have done that? Yeah, but at least back to Morgan actually came and answered some questions, which was, I appreciated that of him. And yeah, but I wish Dan could do that too. Not just
I wish all of them could.
yeah, not
actually.
just
Yeah.
at pre-organized, pre-arranged. My annual come and talk to you about the border
Right.
thing. It should be one of those where like, hey, you know, every 2 weeks, not 2 weeks, every 3 months, I'll come give you
An
a
update.
status report.
Yeah, it's a good idea. It's a great idea.
Which is that would be great if they do that. But I haven't seen that from my congressman. I went to an event that he organized 2 years ago about the border, and at that point, someone asked him about declaring the cartel, calling them a transnational, like
Terrorist
terrorists,
organization.
basically.
Yeah.
Yeah. At that point, he was like, "No, we can't do that. If we do that, we're gonna have to send our soldiers into Mexico. I'd rather have them fought in Afghanistan." That's what he said. 3 months later, he was in Congress saying, because I think President Trump had said that we should do that. Good friends like Jonathan Houlihan had been saying this for so long.
Yeah, I mean, when you define what a terrorist organization is, you're pointing at the cartel.
Yeah.
I mean, you have to point through them to get to the other
Yeah,
terrorists.
yeah.
You know, so I mean, yeah.
So when then it realized, oh, that language is becoming the language of the time, then it's like, oh yeah, we should declare them an transnational terrorist organization. I was like, you were asked that at your own event, and you were like, you said no, we couldn't do that. No,
So
why
does
are you doing
that
it?
would that require boots on the ground by law?
No, it wouldn't require boots on the ground.
Yeah, I didn't think so.
You don't have to.
It's just a declaration.
Yeah,
right?
I mean, Hezbollah is a terrorist organization. Do
right.
we have American boots on the ground in Syria fighting Hezbollah?
Right.
Or in Lebanon? We don't. But if they try to come in, we can take them out.
Yeah.
Or if they're planning anything, we can take them out. That's why we have the best military in the whole world. That's
Right.
why we have the best equipment in the world.
So what do you think it would take to secure the border? I mean, the southern border.
Secure the southern border. Number one is shut it down.
Okay.
So
Nobody in, nobody out.
Yeah, nobody in, nobody out.
Okay.
Until we streamline, until we reorganize. Like after we shut it down, we deport everyone who is in the country legally. Then we fix our visa program.
Okay.
The H-1B, the V visa, the R visa, the M visa. We need to. It's being misused. Of course, we have the people coming in illegally without the
Right.
visa. But we need to first shut it down, deport everybody, then fix these visas. And then also, while doing that, we need to change our laws. Congress needs to change the law that says, instead of giving the president and the attorney general, because right now they can make an exception, saying, oh yeah, you can come and you can. They should say, no, as Congress, this is the law we've given you. Your job is to enforce the law, not to make any exceptions. And right now, you can't force. That's why Texas tried to do it on their own. And the Biden admin is like, no, you can. That's our job. Then he went to court, even though Texas had a valid reason saying, we can't be doing this.
Right.
The court sided with the federal government. Why? Because Congress has given the federal government authority to, if they want to give exception, to do that. Now, here's my suggestion.
Okay.
Congress, while they're changing the law, should give states like Texas the authority to do whatever they can to defend their borders. If it means putting our national guards at the border to protect our Texas borders, and so, because there's what in the law is called preemption,
Okay.
meaning federal law preempts state law.
Right.
Congress should say on the issue of immigration and border security, they are not preempting state law. In other words, they're saying if Texas creates a law that says we deport you because you're in the country illegally, you're in Texas illegally, Texas should be able to do that without the federal government saying, "Oh, wait a second, that's my job. So you're doing my job. You can't do my job," which is what they do now. When Texas put all the and in the river put all the buoys and stuff, and the Biden admin saying, "Oh, we can't do that," it's because of the preemption law.
Okay.
But if Congress says we are removing preemption on A, B, C, D, because Congress can do that. Congress can say, as the lawmakers of America, we are choosing not to stop states from having laws that protect them. If they do that, then we shut down Texas can shut down the border. We don't even need the federal government at that point.
Mm-hmm.
We can safeguard America without the help of the feds, as long as Congress just makes that, like, changes that one statement in the law. It's a very short stuff that they can do.
Mm-hmm.
And then Abbott, with the 8 or whatever billions that he put up, can start doing the job. Instead of those crazies coming and jumping the Texas guards at the border,
Mm-hmm.
the Texas guards will be like, "Oh, you want a piece of me now? Let me show you who's boss. Go back where you came from." But right now, the Texas guards can't do that. The moment they try to do that, the feds are going to be like, "Hey, no, leave these guys alone." I mean, now we welcome them. We almost give them hugs.
That's awful.
Someone comes, is throwing rocks at you. Let me in. Then someone is cutting the fence while you're all watching. Then this guy will throw a rock at you, comes to you, and you're almost hugging him. "Welcome. Thank you for being so smart in cutting the fence we just built. Now come on in. And let's fill up a piece of paperwork, go to court, come back in 5 years maybe. But until then, you can do whatever you want."
So do you think the laws have just become so complicated federally and by the states that that's what the issue is? Is that there's just conflicting laws between the federal government and the states, and for some reason they can't decide? I mean, why? What I'm trying to understand is why our border is in the condition it's in now.
It's
I mean, and it's been evolving since the 80s. You can literally see it on a timeline. So what happened, and what do you think Donald Trump's position is on this? And do you think he'll be able to really make any real progress this time?
So right now, Trump's position is he will sign an executive order,
Mm-hmm.
which problem with executive orders, the next admin can rip it up, like Biden did day one of his admin.
Right.
So yes, while he's signing executive order saying, like, he could shut down the border, like I said.
Okay.
And because that's the authority that the Constitution gives
the president.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
the president. For the safety of the country, you can be like, until we know what the problem is, nobody in. Of course, we can't stop them from going out.
Mm-hmm.
You can't stop Americans from living. That's their constitutional right to live.
Sure.
And you can't stop Americans from coming in. But if you're not an American and you're out of the country, you have no due process rights in America.
Mm-hmm.
So if Trump says the border is closed, you're not coming in, the SCLU and all these crazies will try to go to court, but there is no due process for a non-American citizen if you're out of the country. If you're in the country, the law applies to you. If you're out of the country, there's no protection that you got. So if Trump says, we're not saying a Muslim or whatever, just say the borders are closed.
So there's due process for an illegal alien once they're here.
Once they're in the country.
Wow. Okay.
Yep. Because now, at that point, they are subject to American laws.
Okay.
And that's why, but if Congress says, because due process can be defined even by Congress. Congress can create due process. So now, if Congress says you cannot, as long as you try to come in and you don't have the right papers, and you're gone. Where are your papers? I don't have one. You're gone. If Congress says that, the moment you fly into the country, like, nope, go back out. The moment you walk to the border, they're like, no, go back out. As long as Congress does that, like when they fly into the airport, if they haven't gone through the security checks, they're still not yet. They're still not within our jurisdiction.
Right.
But the moment they cross into this side, they are. Many years ago, they had a guy in Rikers Island who he came in, but the U.S. government was like, "No, you're not gonna. We're not letting you in." You know where they took him? To Rikers. He was there for like 6 years.
Really?
Yeah. So if we have to do that, we send everybody to Rikers. And the law allows you to do that. The law allows the U.S. government to say, okay, we don't know about this guy. We don't want him here. But they claim they don't have a country right now. You know how everybody comes in and they live there.
Yeah, political asylum.
Yeah, not political asylum. They intentionally lose their identification.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Or sometimes their countries decide not to accept them back. The law allows us to go and put them in Rikers or in a place while their nationality is being determined.
Okay.
If we can't determine their nationality, we can choose to feed them for the rest of their lives in Rikers. If they're not willing to go back to their home, and they are not, all their countries are saying we're not going to take them. Or right now we have Guantanamo Bay, for crying out loud. Send them there.
I thought they shut down Guantanamo.
No, they didn't.
Huh.
It's still, yeah. Are we going to give them back to Cuba? Because the Russians may take over or the Chinese may take over. So it's in our interest to keep Guantanamo. Yeah. So that's some of the things that we can do as America.
Okay.
And so Congress has a big role to play. The president has a role, but when it comes to immigration,
when it comes to any laws, Congress has a role.
Congress has. And I really don't want Congress to give any president more power than they already have on immigration. Because we get to where we are today, where nothing happens, where we have, you hear people saying like a caravan of 20,000. They're like, we're going to America. And you're like, and they're coming. This is the other thing Congress can do. Or no, actually the president can do. They can be like, Guatemala, Mexico, whoever. They're starting from that country, going through all these countries. Every country that they travel through, you're going to pay consequences. They can do that. The president can say, okay, they're coming from Honduras and all these other countries they're going to go through. If it's 5 countries they went through, all these 5 countries should have consequences with the U.S. government, with the U.S. for allowing all these people to come into the country.
Yeah, what kind of consequences? Like tariffs and taxes?
Yeah, you can do like a ton of tariffs, a ton of taxes, and you can say, okay, we are gonna stop doing business with you.
Right.
Or
sanctions.
You can come up with something like strong, like something really strong that's why Remain in Mexico worked. Because President Trump said, hey, if you guys don't hold them, we're gonna sanction you. And who is Mexico's #1 trading partner?
Us.
So if we say,
I don't think they have another trading partner.
Exactly, you're like, okay, your avocados that we're gonna put like 150% tariffs on those,
right?
Or something. You would find Mexico doing something about it. You tell the next country south of Mexico that if you don't do this, as long as we know they came from that first country, they went through all these places, and there's this person at our border right now. They went through your country, right? You saw the crowd walking, right? Yes, they went through this highway, yes. So now this is what you pay.
Right.
We can do something about it. And no, not this whole thing of let's give him free money.
Yeah, I don't like that idea.
Was
the free money idea. I don't like.
Which was my disagreement with Morgan Luttrell. He was like, we're gonna have all these bases down where we process them there, and we pay them to. I'm like, so
what are they paying them for? I don't get it. Just so they can eat?
No, they're paying the country because we're processing people through their countries.
Oh, okay.
So I'm like, Don't we already have embassies there?
Mm-hmm.
So why are we gonna pay another country to stop someone from to stop someone from illegally coming to our country?
Right.
The fact that they went to their country first, that's their problem.
Mm-hmm.
But we let them know, if you let them come in, we're not rewarding you for that. You're gonna face consequences. That's what we should do. We shouldn't, because I was telling Morgan Luttrell this, Congressman Luttrell. I'm like, so if, for instance, Venezuela or whatever country, we decide to work with them, Colombia, Venezuela, or Paraguay, or whatever, and then one day they're like, oh, you've been paying us $1 billion, now we want $3 billion. Or we won't stop, we won't do the job. What are we gonna do? We're gonna have blackmailers, and we pay them more.
And that's what'll happen. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, so I don't agree with paying those countries to do.
No, we should be billing them.
Yeah.
You bill them instead of paying them.
Yeah.
Yeah, they got it backwards. So do you think the border problem seriously really could ever be completely resolved, or do you think we can just make it better?
The border problem can be resolved if we have the willpower within our elected officials within Congress.
Okay.
And we need to stop talking about, oh, even President Reagan allowed immigrants, or he made an exception or something. We are not in the Reagan administration right now.
Right. And our population's 3 times what it was back then.
And I don't care whether Bush did it. I don't care whether Obama did it. I don't care whether Reagan did it. What I care about is we need to start following the law.
Right.
We need to stop telling people, hey, if you come to the U.S., we're going to give you a nice hotel in New York City. Meanwhile, our veterans are sleeping on the streets.
Right.
We need to. I mean, this illegal immigrant was being interviewed. He said, I feel like I'm cheating because those guys are on the streets, but I'm getting 3 meals and I have a cell phone. So this guy was like, I feel bad. I feel like I cheated. That's what this illegal immigrant started having compassion for our veterans. So if we're going to do that, maybe let's house our veterans in those fancy hotels first. Send the illegal immigrants to Rikers. Send them to wherever, because they really want to come to America. Provide a space in America until we send them back home. But not in a nice warm hotel while our veterans are sleeping on the streets. While they're dying, they're shooting themselves.
Yeah, and see, I've always thought that if you remove the incentive, they won't come here anymore.
Yeah.
They have too much incentive to come.
Yeah.
America's a great place to live with plenty of work, freedom. Why wouldn't you want to be here? But if we remove the incentive for them, then yeah, they'd stop coming.
Yeah, and someone is going to be like, you're an immigrant, why do you speak like that?
We're all immigrants.
And I would say
find me a red-blooded American. I mean, good luck. I was born here, but my parents were immigrants. So I mean, if you're not an immigrant, I guarantee your descendants are, unless you're an American Indian.
Yeah.
And that's it. And there's only 3 or 4 American Indians left. That's it. So I mean, yeah, we're all immigrants.
Yeah, but
you go through proper channels.
The proper channels, exactly.
Right, yeah.
Yeah. So that's what I would say. If we let everybody commit a crime, and then they're like, oh, but you look like the other people were committing crimes, so why are you saying we should hold the criminals accountable? That's like it.
Right.
And I'm like, then when does the crime stop? The crime stops when you hold people accountable. If you say, hey, you can commit crimes and take things from people's shops and nothing's going to happen to you, it's going to do it again. And again and again and again. And even their presidents are going to be like, yeah, what did Mexico say? They're going to provide attorneys in every what? They have every consulates. They have over 20 consulates in the U.S. Shut them down if we have to.
Sure.
Because they're like, oh, Trump says he's going to deport. So if you're Mexican, from now on, these are the phone numbers for the nearest consulate to you. And we're going to defend your right to be in America. You're like, your right to be in America illegally? And we are allowing all these 20 consulates. Other countries only have one consulate embassy.
Right.
We're having 20 consulates, and these guys are like, we're going to provide all the 20s for you to continue breaking our law. Just because as Americans,
It just seems weird, doesn't it?
I know.
Yeah, it really does.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's talk a little bit about the district. So
Okay.
you've decided to run again, correct?
Yes.
Okay.
I'm going to make an announcement today, right now, that I'm going to run again in 26
Okay.
for our 2nd Congressional District here in Texas.
Okay.
And why am I going to run? Because I think we need sane people in Congress. We need people who actually think about the problem, think about the consequences, think about the solutions, without getting offended every time they're called out. For if someone says, "Hey, we hear you did this," then you get 24 tweets and someone on a podcast or on a video saying how using all the F words and the P words because someone tried to hold them accountable. We can't have elected officials who are like that.
Right.
We need to have people who are willing to sit down and say, "Yes, I screwed up," or "Yes, this is what I'm doing.
And here's the reason why.
And here's the reason
it may
why."
not be apparent.
Yes.
Yeah.
And that's why I'm running, because I'm running to be someone who can be held accountable, someone who knows, who has solutions for this country, just like we talked about, someone who is not afraid to be called names. I I come from Uganda. So I've seen that, heard that, been there, done it.
Sure. Yeah.
So nobody's going to intimidate me but we have people who are too afraid when they're like, how the language today, you're homophobe, you are fascist. And we're like, please don't call me that.
Yeah.
And then we'd rather start working with them because that way they don't call us names.
Yeah.
Or we'd rather if someone says, "Hey, what's this thing about insider trading?" Then we throw a fit, which is what my congressman is doing right now. Mm-hmm. We don't need elected officials who throw fits for being asked a question.
Right.
People are going to be like, "Yeah, okay, here is what the law says." When I worked for Tesla, I told you this before. And we used to get stock options. Mm-hmm. But before every new year or or financial reports, for 28 days, we're shut off. There's a block where we couldn't trade in our stocks.
Right.
So maybe they could do that with Congress.
Mm-hmm.
They're like, "Oh, this company is going to sell this." And because Congress hears about it first,
Right.
there should be 3 months saying for the next 3 months, you can't trade in this stock since this CEO came and talked to you about this, since you guys have all this insider information.
Yeah. And your family can't either.
Yeah, and your family can't. Anybody who deals with you, to the third level, whether it's your cousin, your grandpa, as long as they have any strong connection with you, they can't deal. And come up with solutions like that instead of throwing a fit because someone said you are the biggest, you made the biggest in stock, second highest.
Sure.
That's the kind of people we need. So that's why I'm running, to be able to say, "Hey, I'm willing to listen. I'm willing to be held accountable. I'm willing to stand for the values of America." Our values are being pissed on every day.
Right.
And we're too scared to stand for that. Thank God we have Trump, who is like, "I don't care what you call me, I'm going to stand." But Trump is only going to be there for 4 years. Then what? I'm glad Trump is president. Going to be president in 2 weeks. But then even beyond Trump being president for in 2 weeks, we need people who are going to stand with him, and not just stand with him, but stand for the American people and keep our American tradition, our American power, our American strength.
Okay. Great.
We need to bring jobs back to America. We need to bring, I've never agreed with Bernie Sanders, but I did recently. When he held, our healthcare system, how bad it is right now.
It's
And
a mess.
And you know how?
But I believe it's a mess because of the insurance company.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So now here's the thing. There are some drugs that are made from Europe.
Mm-hmm.
They come to America, and these drugs in Europe they would cost like $5.
Okay.
Here we're paying $500 for the same thing. And you know where those drug companies make the most of their money? The European company, they make 90% of their money in America. And then the rest of the world make 10 or less.
Mm-hmm.
And Bernie Sanders was like, you know, we can't be doing that. He was talking to the CEO of a pharmaceutical company.
Mm-hmm.
And they asked him, so why is it this way? He's like, oh yeah, because we have to discuss with the government. We have to share some with the insurance companies, share some with the pharmacists, share some with the research people, share some with the. I'm like, what research did you do?
Right.
So that same drug that costs $5 in Switzerland. Didn't you do the research in Switzerland? And didn't you already share that with Switzerland? Why is it $500 in the U.S.? So we need to start asking those questions too. Mm-hmm. And I'm willing to ask the staff questions. I'm willing to hold the industrial complexes, whether it's the military industrial complex or the health industrial complex, and guess who they keep giving all the monies to? Some of our current elected officials. Those are some of the main benefactors, industrial complexes.
Yeah, United States corporations. Yeah,
and I'm a nobody. I don't really answer to anybody except for the people of CD2, and that's what I'm going to be doing, and that's why I want to run. That's why I'm running.
Great, fantastic. Well, congratulations. I'm glad you're running again.
Thank you.
It takes a pretty strong individual to stick your neck out that far, because it's a long way to stick your neck out running for Congress, for sure. So let's talk about Congressional District 2.
Yes, sir.
So what are the boundaries? Can you give me just a rough idea?
So right here where we are in Splendora, that's part of the boundary.
Okay.
Then Spring
Conroe? Part of Conroe.
Yeah.
Right?
You know the north side of 336 North is in the district. The other side of it is not in the district.
Okay.
That's
and then
8.
And then how far down south?
Then it goes to, we have Kingwood, Atascocita. Then it's weird shape. So it goes all the way to somewhere in Baytown. Then so it's.
Do you know how many voters are in that district?
So every district has to have about, the last count was 676, I think. Of course, I'm sure we're almost 800,000 by now, because when the count happened, they didn't count some Texans.
Right.
And
so you're going to have to market your message to 800,000 people.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Tough. That's a tough game.
Yeah, but the main places that we want to tackle everywhere, but we have a lot of point in the Woodlands. That's part of the district. We have a lot of point in Spring.
Okay.
We have a lot of point in Kingwood and Ambo. And so if we just...
Yeah, there's some really big voting blocks
if
there.
we just strategize good, of course, we're not going to forget about all the other places, but we just get good strategy. We can knock them out.
Okay.
Fantastic. Of course, CD2 right now is the biggest in the Houston area based on size.
Right.
Because of the way it's carved. But
and because it's rural in some spots.
Yeah. But just because it's the biggest, to fight for America, we're willing to put in the work.
Okay.
And we are tired of having, like the way CD2, the way it's drawn right now. It was, it's supposed to be done by our people in Austin, but DC drew the map.
Really?
Yeah.
I thought that came out of Austin for sure.
No. I DC drew the map.
Wow.
And sent it to Austin, and Austin rubber stamped it.
So it goes by the U.S. Census.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
It's so they carve them based on the census, saying okay, now so we want 676 in every district.
Okay.
But it doesn't have to be cut out the way they cut it out. They could have left the CD8 the way it was, but because they wanted to protect a certain candidate, and we know who that was.
Okay.
They
Yeah.
had to carve a big chunk of CD8 and give it to CD2.
Okay.
And then, but that's neither here nor there. We're gonna work with what we got.
Yeah. Yeah. Those lines had just been changed the last time you ran.
Yeah, the last time we ran,
Yeah.
it was changed. It was changed. We're like filing deadline.
Mm-hmm.
So was December 13th, I think, the filing day with
That's
the
right.
state.
Yep.
And the lines were drawn like maybe 2 weeks before.
Mm-hmm.
It was drawn in December. It was supposedly drawn in December.
Wow.
So that's why, back to where Austin and DC.
Mm-hmm.
DC, Austin had a very small, really little role to play.
Mm-hmm.
For instance, my representative, Steve, because my state rep,
Mhm.
because he,
Steve Toth?
yeah, because he was a CD8 guy. He loved being in CD8,
Mhm.
so he had recommended a certain way for the map to go.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody wanted the way. DC drew it, and Steve is like, I've always been in 8, so keep me in 8. So
Right.
they had to carve the map. So that's why you see the map comes, the part instead of going
Yeah,
up
we're-
straight,
yeah,
it goes, then it
drops
goes,
down.
then yeah, because Steve's house is
Right. Okay.
But- so that's the extent of which
Yeah.
Austin did anything about our maps, but DC do the map. And how do I know this? Because the former congressman for CD8 told us that himself.
Okay.
He said, Kevin Brady said they drew the map with the Texas delegation in DC.
Okay.
So that means the work is still there to be done,
There you go.
but we are going to do a heck of a job.
Well, there's a lot of work ahead of you for sure.
Yeah.
And I hope you make it. So, do you have a website set up yet or any of that kind of stuff? I know it's still early.
Yeah, my website is martinetwop.com.
Okay.
I have
And that's ETWOP?
yeah,
Okay.
martinetwop.com.
Okay.
And I would appreciate people donating to the campaign because we're going against someone who is
Takes a lot of
takes
money.
a lot
to
of
run-
money
yeah.
from the
Takes
from
a
the
lot of
industrial
money to run-
complex.
Yeah, sure.
So
Absolutely.
we need to fight against the complex. We need to fight for the people, and the only way we win is when the people give.
Right.
So I'm asking for your donations.
And would somebody get in touch with you, like for a speaking engagement through your website as well?
Yeah, they can do that.
Okay.
Or if you want, I can give you my cell phone number.
I would do it. And the best way to get in touch with somebody, yeah. Go ahead.
And my own personal number is 323-423-0020.
Okay. Fantastic.
Or you can also on my website. There's a phone number, my campaign phone number, and you can call me on that too. But if you call me on my cell phone, we can talk as well. So
Okay.
either way, you and I are good.
Fantastic. Well, as this race progresses, I'd like to have you on again just to find out where you are and
Yeah.
and how things are going. But
Yes, sir.
congratulations, sir. I appreciate you sticking your neck out. Anytime anybody wants to take the time to run for anything, I have the utmost respect for that individual, especially if they're doing it for the right reason. And I believe that you are. I know
Thank
for
you.
sure you were last time, and I still think you are.
Appreciate that.
Yeah, thanks for helping us out. Being a true American, that's an important thing too. So,
Hey, just before we go, you know what I always say? By the grace of God, I call myself the true American dream.
Mhm.
Because I came from war, came from disease, came from HIV/AIDS, came from, one of these countries Trump called a shithole country.
Mm-hmm.
Because actually, I was just reading something that's on WhatsApp from Uganda.
Mm-hmm.
The son of the president, who is the head of the military, is like I don't know what the equivalent, because in Uganda it's just like there's what they call the chief of defense forces.
Okay.
So there's the commander in chief who's the president. Then the next guy is the president's son. And the president's son is saying, because there's an he was like, if it was within my power, I would kill this so and so. I would cut his head off. He's only being protected by my dad. So that's the country I came from, where the head of the military is saying, I could take your head out. So I say I am the American dream because I'm blessed. It came from nothing. It came from zero
Right.
to being able to hold government accountable in the U.S., being able to stand
Yeah,
shoulder
that's
to shoulder,
something. Yeah.
shoulder to shoulder with the very best of Texas
Yeah.
to fight for the Texas people.
There you go.
There's no country that you could do that but this great United States of America. So I'm blessed to do that. And I would do anything and everything to fight for this country, to stand for this country, to defend the values this country always stood for. Because without that, then what are we worth for?
Right. There you go.
So that's what I got to say.
All right. Well, guys, there you have it. Martin Etwop is running for Congress once again, and he's got a good shot. Let's hope he makes it. And we'll keep you informed as this race moves forward. And again, appreciate you watching. Appreciate you subscribing to the channel. I'm Hank Vatt. Hank's Think Tank, and we'll see you in the next one. Thanks a lot, Martin.
Thank you, sir.